Today, I'll be covering one of the most immersive RPGs on the market, Kingdom Come Deliverance. The lore, world building, and attention to detail in this game is immaculate. Every object, NPC, item, and location has a story and a purpose. For example, this water trough. You can clean yourself in it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I ever need to clean myself? Well, because if you don't, you're gonna look and smell like shit. As a result, people will be repulsed by your presence and will treat you like the disgusting human filth that you are. This logic also applies in-game, in the form of a charisma debuff whenever you get too dirty. Very immersive. This game feels like a living, breathing environment, where NPCs react to your actions.
And what of the gold crate? What the fuck?
And the game just feels real. And that's because, well, it kind of is. The game takes place in 1403, the Kingdom of Bohemia, which is equivalent to the modern-day Czech Republic. Our king is Wenceslas IV. However, Wenceslas is kind of a shitty king, so his half-brother Sigismund kidnapped and imprisoned him, causing chaos and turmoil in these lands. Copying the history books was quite an outstanding move from the developers of this game, because why spend countless hours meticulously crafting an immersive, fantastical new world when you can just copy-paste your lore from a Wikipedia article? The resulting product is the most realistic medieval life simulator on the market. From the moment I started playing, I was immersed. For example, immediately after starting the game, I had a strong urge to beat the first person I saw. So I did. I immediately was approached by the guards, who kindly asked me to stop and threw me in jail. My village then got raided and burnt to the ground as I slowly succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning in my cell chamber. As an expert on medieval European life, I can confirm that this is, in fact, quite a realistic sequence of events. I then respawned and decided to obliterate several chickens with my fists and hit 2 horses. The consequences of my actions were not so immediate this time, but eventually a guard approached me who claimed that there were reports of me damaging livestock, and so threw me in jail. My village then got raided and burnt to the ground as I slowly succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning. In my opinion, one of the coolest things about this game is the codex. In many games, the codex may contain information about different strange creatures and frightening monsters. But Kingdom Come contains information about everything, and all of the entries are historically accurate, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I've spent many hours poring over some of these entries. For example, did you know that the 7 knightly skills according to the classical tradition were horse riding, swimming, archery, fighting with swords and unarmed, hunting, as well as playing chess and composing poetry? Fascinating. One of my most memorable moments in this game was when I was reading a codex entry on bathhouses. It was mentioned that in the 14th century, bathhouses began expanding their business model, offering a wider variety of services in order to capitalize on their customers' more nefarious desires. After visiting the local bathhouse, I was delighted to find out that this humble establishment had too adopted the newer, modernized business model. Speaking of being delighted, this game has a gambling minigame, and boy oh boy, do gambling minigames delight me. At pretty much every inn and tavern, you can find someone playing the game of Farkle. All you need to know about Farkle is that it's a dice game, and here are the rules if you want to look at them. My first experience with Farkle resulted in me gambling away my entire net worth after losing about 8 times in a row. After some rigorous statistical analysis, I concluded that the game must be rigged and this fucker must be cheating. As it turns out, he was, because loaded dice are a thing in this game and NPCs can use them. Very immersive, but still fucking bullshit. You start the game off as a nobody, a peasant blacksmith's son, with not a penny to your name. However, as you progress through the game, you improve your skills, earn a reputation, get bread, buy bread, get a new ride, pimp said ride, and most importantly, get some medieval drip. As you level up and progress through the game, your character earns perk points, which you can use to spend on specific skills. Most RPGs take a classic boring approach to perks, and put in shit like, deal 15% extra damage with swords, or sprint 10% faster. But Kingdom Come Deliverance? No. Kingdom Come doesn't do it like that. There's a perk called Drinking Habit, which simulates the effects of severe alcoholism. When you're drunk, the perk improves your skill with the bow and reduces the amount that your hands shake when using the bow. But as you sober up, withdrawal symptoms set in, and your hand shakes more when using a bow. There's also a perk that lets you use some of the bathhouse's services for free. The combat in this game can feel a bit clunky and unintuitive, but once you get the hang of it, it can be quite satisfying. Basically, you can slice at your opponent in 5 different directions, and can also unlock combos to perform special moves. You can also use a bow, which is utter dog shit at the beginning of the game. Since you, as a peasant, have never held a bow in your life, your accuracy, form, and skills are dog shit. Your arm shakes around, and your arrows have very high spread. But as you master the art of archery, your hands will grow firm and steady, and your arrows will become more accurate. If you ever find yourself facing off against more than one person at a time, then good luck. You know how in most games, when you're fighting a group of enemies, then they'll politely come at you one at a time? Well, in Kingdom Come, the NPCs are very rude. A group of enemies will surround you, smack you, and stunlock you till death. I was once given a quest where I had to kill these 2 bandits. I was weak, underleveled, and unprepared for what was to come. I proceeded to get tag-teamed, anally fisted, and died about 20 times in a row, until I found a small boulder to climb onto where the AI could not reach me. I then shot them with my bow, and I'm not ashamed. This is Teresa. Let's say hi to Teresa. Oh, what's this icon next to this dialogue option? Well, let's find out. What the fuck just happened? Oh no, I've been transformed into a woman. As an expert on medieval European life, this is very bad news. It turns out that I had accidentally activated a DLC questline where you play as Teresa. At the time, I thought it was cool, and that it would be a fun 20-minute mini-adventure. But it turned out to be a full 3-hour-long questline, where I had to do chores for my father. It was so fucking boring, and yet so realistic and immersive. Overall, it's a pretty good game, and I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10.
I can't pay the fine.
Can't pay? Well, then we'll have to deal with it another way.